Today it's probably going to be one of the last nice days of the year. It's early December, and I get some questions on my YouTube channel occasionally about how I build a fire, and so I decided I'd make a little series of videos. And in this first one, I'm just going to show really basic, easy method of crafting a fire. Now, thankfully, I'm in a little park here that seldom gets used. I found some downed wood, and oh, this is really good stuff. What you're looking for is something that snaps, something dry that snaps real easy like this. And this looks like something that fell down and somebody drug back in here. And that's about the right size. I don't go for big logs like that because it requires some processing and things. Here's another downed branch here that I think will work real well. This is probably more than I need. Let me just check and see. Yeah, this is good too. So I'm just gonna break that off, and I'm just gonna build a little small fire. That would be enough wood for me to, you know, boil water on or whatever, and I will get started. So like I said, I'm in a park, and I could take you into the woods and show you all this stuff, but part of the purpose of this is to show you that, you know, you don't need to own a bunch of land or anything. You know, just the average person can go out and practice doing this and learn how to do all of this stuff right close to your house. This is a arranged fire pit, and it's one that the park provided. Maybe in some other episodes I'll show you, you know, safe ways to make like a little fire ring. This is way bigger than I would ever make on my own, but since it's here, we're just going to use it. I wanted to stress that there isn't really a right or a wrong way to do any of this. This is just the way I do it, and I learned this in the Boy Scouts. So here, what I do is I take and I try to process this wood into small usable chunks, and I'm going to save, this is going to be really good tinder to get us going here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break this all down and arrange it. I'm going to just put my tinder over here just to keep it dry. But typically what I'll do is I'll break and have some real small stuff and put that in one pile, and then stuff that's a little bit bigger in a pile next to it, and then just kind of work your way down the branches into bigger and bigger stuff, so that you have everything nice and ready. See there, nice and ready, so that when it's time to use it, you've got everything laid out and ready to go, so you're not scrambling around. It's a good rule of thumb just to do all of this ahead of time, and just make sure you have plenty of wood for what you need to do before you even start building the fire. What you want to do is you want to get the fire to a point where it's sustainable, meaning I can walk away from it for a half an hour and there'll still be coals there. So I usually just process up the wood to get to that point. And let me just do this off camera. I'm not going to use any tools or anything, I'm just using my hands. Just to kind of show you, you really don't need an axe or anything most of the time. This is about as big a piece of wood as I would burn on a fire that I was going to cook on. So I'm getting there. Maybe a little bit more here. I'm not going to try to build a big fire. I just kind of want to demonstrate the method, and this will be plenty of wood to show you what I mean. I have some twiggy type stuff over here, then a little bigger, then a little bigger, then a little bigger, and then finally some wrist-sized pieces of wood. And this is about what I like to get a whole bunch of to make coals to cook over. Here's some dried grass. I'm going to grab some of this. Some of those leaves were a little bit moist. I'm not sure how much luck I'd have trying to just light that on fire. So now I've got some real fine, some tinder. The leaves are a little bit green, but this I think is fairly dry and it should light pretty well. And need an ignition source. And I pretty much always have a Bic lighter on me because I always have this little stuff with me, but there's a lot of ways to start a fire even without a lighter. And when I get around to it, I'll show you how to do that. But basically you need an ignition source, and you need fuel, and you need oxygen, and you need to balance those together. So let me just kind of see if I can get this stuff started. Sometimes it's easier said than done. We've had some rain here recently, so some of this stuff is a little bit dry, even though some of this stuff is a little bit wet. But we'll get it there. Now, let this catch a little bit hot. Now we just start putting on, I'm going to try to get these leaves dried out and going. Not too much though, don't pile too much on. I almost killed it there. Now some sticks. I want to get these little sticks going first, so that we'll have something that's going to burn a little bit longer than this grass and these leaves are. Now you can get more points if you start this with, like, you know, fuzz sticks and all this stuff, and eventually I'll show how to do some of that stuff, but I just thought I'd start real basic, because most of the fires that I make, I'm trying to go into easy mode for it. Let these sticks catch. Give it a little oxygen. Don't want to pile too much on, like I said. And again, I'm starting with the real small stuff. I'm going to scoop some of this over. Might as well use it. And there, our sticks are catching a little bit. Add a few more on. And just kind of slowly go up the size scale here as these catch. Trick is to be patient. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. Now I'm going into some bigger stuff here. There. Now I've got a fire that will be, in a very short amount of time here, sustainable. I'm piling these sticks on in kind of a teepee configuration. There's a lot of ways to do that. I'm not claiming this is the only way, but this is a way that works for me very consistently in all kinds of different environments. Let this catch a little bit. Now we're getting to the point where I need to put some more fuel on. For some reason, fire always seems to blow right towards you. You always get smoky, and it's just part of the game, I guess. Now some of this wood has had a little bit of moisture in it, and it's drying out right now. You can hear there's a hissing sound. Now this is gonna make a real good bed of coals here, or it's going to be sustainable very shortly. I'm going to lay this bigger piece like this, and another piece like this. Again, there's a lot of ways to do this. My way isn't the only way, and I'm just going to start stacking some stuff across the top. So there you have it. That's how to build a fire. It's really that simple. There's nothing complicated. I just wanted to show a really quick, easy way to start, and I'll get into some more advanced stuff later. I did not use a knife at all during the preparation of this fire. Again, what you need is an ignition source, so like a lighter, but it doesn't have to be that. I'll show some other ones eventually. Some tinder is real nice. Like if we just took a lighter and held it to this log, you could do that all day and you're not going to get a fire. So you need some tinder. You know, start with the small stuff, work your way up to this, and this is what you end up with. I could walk away from this for a half an hour and be just fine. All of these will burn into coals, and there will be a bed of coals there probably for several hours that I could stoke into a usable fire. Now, what I wanted to also get across is that if you're burning stuff that's a whole lot bigger than your wrist, when you're out in the woods and things, you're kind of wasting energy. You know, I broke all of this stuff up with my hands, and it really is not challenging to do that. I don't know why people get so stuck on you gotta have like a Rambo knife and all this crap when you go out in the woods, or you know, you gotta be able to baton wood and all this. And there are some circumstances where having that capability makes things easier. But in most environments, you can get a fire started using basically just the method that I just showed you. Now, the reason I use the smaller stuff like this is that all of this will burn into coals fairly quickly, and then what I do is, I mean, these aren't ready to do it yet, but eventually what I would do would be to kind of scrape these out into a little bed of coals and then cook on the coals. So like prop a couple rocks around it, or even a couple logs, and then use that to boil water, or to roast meat, or whatever it is you need to do. And there's a lot of different techniques that I'll get into over the course of this series. I probably wouldn't expect these videos all that often, but just whenever I think of it, I'll put one together. Now, this brings me to the last point. If you're going to be building a fire, stay by it, or keep somebody by it, or stay very close to it. And it's a good thing to have some water around, because you want to, at the end of this, I'm going to put this fire out. It's just not a good thing to do to leave a fire unattended, or to leave a fire behind when you're leaving an area. That's just not good woodsmanship. So I've let this burn long enough, and I think I'm just gonna put it out. I'm just gonna spread this out just a little bit, like that, and then just pour a little water on. This reminds me, I should tell you that when I'm choosing a campsite, when I'm out in the wilderness, I tend to choose campsites with good materials around, so good fire materials, and also I like to camp next to water if possible. And it just makes life a little bit easier. If you camp somewhere where you don't have a lot of wood, it can make getting a fire a little more difficult, and honestly, that's kind of on you. That was just poor site choice. And if you think about it, there's a reason that our civilizations and any village you find is going to be next to water, and that's it just makes life a lot better for you if you've got water close by. So that's it. That's the basics of how to start a fire, and I'll get into some more advanced techniques later on.